Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to explore a really interesting resource called question charts or cue charts. These charts are fantastic for both teachers and students because they help us generate a wide variety of questions and foster critical and even creative thinking. So let's see how it works. First, you pick one of the question words from the left column, and then we select a word from the top row. And finally, we complete the question based on the text we're reading or listening to, whether it's for understanding, planning a class discussion, or even participating in a speaking task. Now, in this type of task, the questions become more complex as you move further down and to the right. So the blue areas for questions that ask you to remember factual information from the text. Think Bloom's taxonomy or any other similar classification. Yellow questions usually involve analyzing information or drawing conclusions. Over here in the green boxes, you'll find questions that require applying information to new situations using your prior knowledge or making predictions. And finally, the brown boxes often challenge you to compare and contrast, classify, express an opinion, or even create something new based on the information provided. Remember, the further down and to the right you go, the more demanding the questions become. When students use this chart, it's very important to encourage them to explore questions from all areas. And a fun way to do this is by turning it into a game, for instance, by offering points for each question based on its complexity, and both the student asking the question and the one answering it would earn points. So we're going to have a look at this short text and see the types of questions we can write using this cue chart. Sarah had always wanted to explore the Amazon rainforest. She took a backpack and went on an adventure deep into the jungle. As she walked through the thick trees and saw strange animals, she found out that the rainforest was amazing, but also has some tough parts. Sarah's strong will and love for nature helped her during this great adventure. For the first question, who's the main character in the story? This would belong to the blue area of the chart, asking the students to identify factual information. So we would give it a point if we go by the point system. The second one, what did Sarah want to do in the story? Again, it's fairly straightforward. The third one, how did Sarah feel as she went further into the jungle? This question asks students to infer some information, so we're going to give it 3 points. The fourth one, what special animal or plant might Sarah have seen? We're asking students to use their prior knowledge, so a little bit more difficult. And finally, how would you describe the relationship between Sarah and the rainforest in the story? Here we are asking the students to express an opinion using information from the text, and definitely the most complex question.
In addition to classroom use, the cue chart can also be used by students independently. Here's a digital version of the cue chart that incorporates AI to enable learner autonomy. The games field is the same as in the paper-based version. To learn the rules, students should click on the question mark. The rules of the game are simple. Students pick one of the question words from the row on the left and the word from the top row to make up a sentence related to the passage they are currently reading. The number of points is displayed in each square and is automatically counted. The total score is shown in the top left corner of the cue chart. To start the game, a student should click on the square and then enter their question in the text field. For example, let's use the questions from our story about Sarah. The first question is, who is the main character in the story? Now let's choose the combination with what and did and type in what did Sarah want to do in the story. I'll intentionally make a mistake here and write what did Sarah want it to do to see how our language teacher assistant, or LTA, works with mistakes. The score shows the completion rate, that is, the number of questions produced by the student, while their accuracy will be checked later with our LTA. Students may fill as many squares as they can, or you may ask them to focus on a particular section, depending on their level. After they have finished, they click Done. Here they can see their completion score and the maximum score they could have gained. Their questions are stored in each folder, marked with blue, yellow, green or brown. I haven't filled in questions in the chat other than in the blue section, so here are my questions. Now we can copy our questions and check them with the Language Assistant. On the Language Assistance page, we can see the file folders by clicking on which we can return and copy another set of questions to check. Our Language Teacher Assistant is an AI chatbot designed to help students review their sentences and provide extra practice. To start the conversation, you should just paste in your questions and click Send. Our LTA will quickly review the questions and comment on those that have mistakes. It will then show the questions that need improvement. Again, I've made this chatbot as a learning assistant to help students learn, not as an instant check-in tool, so it will not provide corrected sentences right away. For example, the 2 questions we typed in had mistakes, and the chatbot correctly spotted them. The chatbot is also programmed to act as a friendly cheerleader to help students stay motivated. So after prompting the student to try and correct the sentences, it finishes up with, "I believe you can do it." After the chatbot has reviewed all the mistakes with the student and checked that the student has no questions, it will suggest some extra practice and generate a gap fill exercise, either using the sentences with mistakes or sentences with a similar structure. When a student finishes a task, our Learning Teaching Assistant can recommend a practice session that's all about answering questions. During this practice, the LTA can do 2 things. It might ask the student questions and wait for their answers, or it could give the student answers and ask them to check and fix any mistakes. This exercise does 2 things at once. It helps correct the student's answers if they made any mistakes, and it also helps the student better understand the questions they are being asked. In this way, by using cue charts, our students can independently practice the language and complete the drills, which frees up more time for meaningful in-class practice.